The Soybean School on realagriculture.com is brought to you by Pride Seeds, Cruiser Max Vibrance, High Stick NT, and the Manitoba Pulse Growers.
Okay, realagriculture.com is here with Dennis Lange with Manitoba Agriculture, Food and Rural Initiatives based at Altona. We're talking soybeans, to roll or not to roll?
Well, I guess that's the question that a lot of growers have been asking themselves in all the time that we've been growing soybeans over the last 10 years. Probably the simplest answer to give is to look at, number one, are you growing soybeans where there's stones? If you're growing soybeans where there's stones, rolling definitely a necessity, because you don't want to be spending $20,000 fixing a combine and putting the stone through the combine. The next question you have to ask yourself is the best time to roll. Now, typically, most farmers will roll after seeding, usually within a couple of days after seeding. Once the ground's firmed up a little bit, you don't want to be rolling when it's too wet, and you don't want to cause any compaction issues. But that typically would be the best time to be rolling. Rolling will give you a more level seed bed, and it will also give you a more level harvest field in fall as well. And that's really important, because if you can go along, and soybeans typically, if you have a nice dry fall and the flex header you put down on the ground and you travel at a reasonably good speed, 3-4 miles an hour, keep the combine running full, they're a joy to harvest. It's the years when things have problems, if you have stones coming in or if the ground is too wet. Now, saying that, over the last couple years, we've seen some growers have some concerns about rolling at seeding time, mainly because either A, it's too wet, or B, they get the crop seeded and then they get a rain on it and they can't get in until back on the field for another week after that. In those types of situations, what growers have done is they waited until the soybeans get up to that first trifoliate stage. And they're rolling during the heat of the day, when there's lots of warmth, so when the roller's going over top of the soybeans, they're bending down, but then they come back up again. The worst thing you can do is to roll them after seeding, but roll them at what they call the hook stage, or where the hypocotyl is just pushing through the soil surface. The plant is most susceptible at that time to damage, and if you damage the hypocotyl, the plant is done. So if you are choosing to roll after seeding, then you want to wait to that first trifoliate stage. Then most of the beans are going to be past the hypocotyl stage, so you may have some at unifoliate, but that would be the ideal time to be in there rolling if you have to roll afterwards. This past year we had some growers roll that way because they were concerned about the ground soil erosion, or soil drifting in spring, I guess, because it was so dry, and they were concerned that if they rolled it, it might pulverize the soil a bit, and so they decided to wait in that respect. So ideally, right after seeding, within a day or two. But if you have to roll, you can roll after the crop is up.
All right, thanks so much, Dennis.
Thank you.